Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending our public forum tonight. My name is Mike Trudeau, and I am a member and spokesperson of the newly formed Irish Hills Preservation Council. And before we get started with tonight's agenda, just please help me in recognizing our host this evening and for making this venue available for us at Cornerstone Church. Thank you again, Mr. Craig Cobbs. Thank you to your staff as well. We thank you for your generosity and your willingness to invite us, invite our family and friends out to your beautiful facility. So thank you again. Also, please thank our distinguished guests for joining us tonight. We have Michigan Senators, Mr. Joe Bellino, with us tonight. Mr. Jonathan Lindsay's here. Senator Sue Shink called today. She was ill and could not make it tonight, unfortunately. We would love to have her here. We also had House Representative Sarah Leitner here tonight. Thank you for coming. And Mr. Dale Zorn also got a hold of me over the weekend and could not make it to this evening. He had a procedure done, but Josh Stump is here from his office, and Josh is somewhere here. Thanks for coming, Josh. Our county commissioner who was going to come, Dustin Kransny, also had a family issue and had to call out tonight. But we've got a great panel tonight. Our speakers, Mike Wilczynski is here. He's going to speak to us a little bit here. And also we have Roger Johnson here to speak for us tonight. So we're going to be hearing from each of them shortly during our panel discussion. And we're going to get these guys up here to speak. We also want to thank the media. We have Matt Schupler here of the Brooklyn Exponent. Matt, thank you so much for covering this event for us. We also have WILX TV 10 here, story tonight at 11, according to what they told me tonight. So we'll get you out of here by about 10:50. We also want to thank all of our groups here tonight that are, whether they're in support or opposition, of what we're going to be discussing tonight. We want to thank everybody for coming out. This event is being recorded for YouTube at a later time for those unable to attend. Just a little about the Irish Hills Preservation Council. We currently have 27 representatives from area lakes, and we represent residents in 4 different counties. Just an estimate based on our lake associations within our lake representatives, our non-lake associations, our area residents. We think our total constituents are roughly around 15,000 people potentially within this newly formed council. Our IHPC Council was formed out of awareness created by the Citizens Protect Irish Hills group. Many of you in the crowd, have been attending our town hall meetings. We've been running those for educational purposes to educate the citizens of the Irish Hills. It's been going on for just about over a year. The reason that Citizens Protect Irish Hills started was because there was a gravel mine operation that submitted an application over in Cambridge Township. That was a 300-acre mine in Cambridge Township, right in the heart of the Irish Hills, right off US 12, near Killarney Highway. That would encompass both the south and the north side of US 12, just west of Egan Highway. Anybody ever been to Jerry's Pub? You know where Egan is? East of Killarney, and then it's near the Ellen Lake Public Access. So you know that area right near Dead Man's Curve. That's where that gravel mine has been proposed. The proposed mine would dig 2 new man-made lakes in our already fragile chain of lakes. One 30 acres on the south side, and then the other one 125 acres in size on the north side, thus creating what we think are very serious consequences for the community and the environment. We believe local government and the citizens should be the ones determining what is best for our zoning and land use, not the state government. And that's what is at issue right now, and that's why we've gathered here tonight. In fact, it's exactly what's happening in Cambridge Township. The local unit of government, Cambridge Township, our planning commission and our board, they're working with us, working and communicating with their citizens. And they're talking to us about the very sensitive issue of a mining operation being permitted in our environmentally sensitive area. The board, rightfully so, they've taken a long look at its ordinances, they've revised them, and together with the citizens have created an ordinance which allow a mining operation to exist if and only if that operation can satisfy and prove the required application requirements in Cambridge Township and that they're being met. The aggregate industry calls this restrictive. We call it good government. So let's take just a deep breath and look at all the facts, and that's kind of where we formed our group. Let's not rush to these things. Let's take a long look at what we're going. That farm has been there for years and years and years, right? So we want to take a close look at what's been happening and what the good and the bad and the ugly are about everything that's happening with an application such as that. And as Mike Wilczynski has said, you don't drive full speed into fog. You navigate slowly in order to see what's ahead. The IHPC Council, a little history of us, we just met for the first time in September. We met our second time in November. That's how new we are. At that meeting, we learned the state of Michigan had just passed the energy, wind, and solar and battery bills that effectively removed local governments, throughout the state and their citizens' voices in Michigan from having any say where a wind, a turbine, solar field array, can be built. Same for battery factories. Our council is opposed to the state of Michigan taking away our voices at any level. That's really what our council is saying. We don't want the state of Michigan telling us locally what we can do and what we can't do with our properties. Our council is not a political entity. We are not on one side or the other regarding the new Green Deal. We are not against sand and gravel. We are against the state of Michigan imposing themselves on our local units of government and silencing our voices, and we hope you are against this too. The preemption of local control for the energy bills and the gravel bills have opposition. 87% of Michigan residents oppose the energy bills that were just recently passed, but they passed anyway. So I ask you, do you know of anyone that supports local control being handed over to the state to decide what's best for us, regarding our land use and our local resources? Do you know anybody? I see a lot of heads shaking no. Likely, there aren't many, but that became law after the bills were pushed through the House and the Senate within a few short weeks along party lines. About 4 weeks, I believe, was the time frame on that bill being passed through. It went through before the election and before the House lost 2 seats that were vacated on election night. When 2 seats were resigned on election night, it left a 54-54 tie in the House. Now, you should also know that no Republicans voted in favor of the preemption of local control in either the House or the Senate. So let's be fair. So while there were party line votes in favor, there were also party line votes in opposition. And perhaps our guests can explain their positions later during their panel discussion. So it appeared to our council that a highly disputed and sensitive fast-track bill voted on before an election night that would leave a 54-54 tie in the House, and a bill that removes local control and citizen voices, we felt it should be addressed immediately. So at our November meeting, we decided to put this together and to get everybody out so we could address this issue. And that's why we're here tonight, and this is where we're at. On aggregate bills 4526, 27, and 28, if you have a pen, you might want to write those down if you haven't researched them already. But House Bills 4526, 27, and 28 are the aggregate bills. We feel the same way about the aggregate bills that will undoubtedly rear their ugly head again after the new year. They've been up a few different times and haven't made it out of session. But we think that because the energy bill just passed, that this one's going to come up again probably pretty quickly. And again, our distinguished guests can help us more on that. But we don't believe aggregate is a partisan issue like the wind and solar bills, but who knows? We don't want to take that chance. That's why we wanted to come together. These bills also preempt local control from zoning and land use in their neighborhoods, in your communities. And that's why we wanted to host this event, so that you can understand better what we can do, what you can do, how to fight, how to collaborate, and hear back from our elected officials. Perhaps after this evening, we can all better understand the differences in these highly contentious topics, and you can make an informed decision. It's what we really all want. I have a lot of questions about what happened and how this went down, and I think a lot of us have those same concerns. And having local control stripped just right underneath our noses is a contentious issue for sure, and we don't want it to happen again with sand and gravel, so we want to be informed and prepared. It's our mission of the Irish Hills Council to preserve the air, the water, and land in our lake communities and surrounding lands, and to preserve the way of life we all love, respect, and cherish. Our council is here to educate. We want to take this opportunity. I want to take this opportunity, if I could, just to introduce our representatives from the council, so you can get a face and a name and see who they are. So as I call your name, if you would stand and please remain standing, I just go through and introduce you to our Irish Hills Preservation Council. Joyce Burning, Wolf Lake. Kathy Nearhood, Vineyard Lake. Richard Zolweg, Silver Lake. Richard LaRoe, Lake Leanne. Phil Ketteridge could make tonight from Loch Erin, represents Loch Erin. Tim Kruger, Silver Lake, also not able to make it tonight. John Calhoun from Clark Lake. Hey, John. Mike Trout, Clark Lake. Bunny Pisarski and Bob from Wamplers. Joe Crisanti from Stony. Diane Higgins, Allen Lake. Ken Perry, Iron Lake. I'm Mike Trudeau from Kelly Lake. Ted Steck-Schulte from Meadow Lake. Rick Streams called today, he's ill, he's from Mar Lake. John Carroll from Killarney. Harold Pop from Cambridge Lake. Janice Scoville, Pickerel Lake. Tom Crampton from Columbia. Doug Collins from Mirror Lake. Sue McCauley from Sand Lake. We have Dan Farr from Loch Erin. Maria Disser, South Lake. Alan Belinsky from Mud Lake. And then we have Kim and Bob Kazmar from Washington, Denise Armstrong from Washington, Ray and Bonnie Paremba from Washington, and we have Jules and Linda Roberts from Wamplers Lake, and Bob Frontiera from Vineyard Lake. Alicia DeCaria is our secretary for the council. Please stand up, Alicia, and recognize yourself. Can we please give these folks a big round of applause? I would just say, as a spokesperson, I just love these people. They're great people, very smart people. They're engaged, they're involved people, as you can see. To put something like this together and to make our community, have these thoughtful processes and issues is really what it's all about. Having this community sense and being able to help and work with your local government. We helped our local government in Cambridge Township. I know Norville Township's done the same thing. We have to make them aware as well. So, these topics are debatable. And so whether you're, on the good or bad or environmental friendly, or whether, what shouldn't be is the preemption of local control, silencing the citizens, shoving things down our throats that will have lifetime impacts in our communities. These wind farms can last 20 to 50 years. Gravel pits, as long as or longer. Their impacts on our communities are on our properties, our environment, our land, our air, and our water. Michigan is a unique state with many valuable resources. The most valuable resource is us, the people. Without it, Michigan's nothing. So we hope we can be heard. I took a couple excerpts I just wanted to go through real quick before we bring our speakers up, but this was written from the Michigan Township Associations, the Michigan Municipal League, the Michigan Association of Counties, the APA of Michigan, the SEMCOG, Michigan Environmental Council, Michigan League of Conservation Voters, the Sierra Club, and the Clean Water Action. They wrote a letter on May 8th of 2023 and submitted it to the Regulatory Reform Committee regarding sand and gravel. Our organizations representing local and regional governments, the environment and land use planners, are united in our opposition to House Bills 4526, 27, and 28, currently before this committee. We ask that you oppose this legislation, which preempts local authority over sand and gravel mining operations, regardless of their location or impact on a community, neighboring residents or property owners, small businesses, school, or the environment. It also does not address the myriad environmental concerns over these operations. Further, the bills eliminate all existing local control and instead shift complete oversight to the state, far removed from the people in the areas most impacted, leaving residents and local governments only the ability to submit concerns through public comments. These mining operations can have long-lasting and far-reaching impacts on our communities, residents, and the environment if not properly sited and operated. Local involvement and oversight in gravel mining operations are critical to ensure issues are addressed to the benefit of all concerned. The majority of current mining permits are approved, allowing local officials and operators to address concerns or questions regularly as they arise. This has occurred as a result of local governments working with the industry to ensure respect for the community. The three bills before you create a state-led oversight process within the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, which you know as EGLE, for a very local issue with local impacts. Rather than creating a standard that safeguards our environment, the bills instead remove local regulations and oversight from this industry. The department is not required to garner local input about the impact of the mining operation to the community or those affected, or to review operators regularly. The legislation is not responsive to concerns about groundwater contamination, noise pollution in truck routes, hours of operation, or whether the remediation plan is sufficient to restore the site after the mining company is completed. Also of concern is the fact that the bills do not align as to what is proposed to pre-existing or small mining operations. We support access to materials necessary to fix Michigan roads, as well as for building construction and development, utilizing virgin, recycled, or reused materials. The current process allows for local governments to balance those needs along with those of their community and the environment. Although the bills are modeled after Statute Part 632 that offers local oversight over safeguards, such as truck and hours of operation, they currently offer no such protections or authority. Every community should have a voice over issues impacting their local neighborhoods, their health, their safety, their quality of life. These bills strip away all local government oversight and authority in the permitting and operation of sand and gravel mining, and do not include adequate environmental protections, including impacts on neighboring wells, drinking water, soil conservation, and site restoration. Again, written by Judy Allen, Director of Government Relations for the Michigan Township Associations, Dina Bosworth, Director of Government Affairs, Michigan Association of Counties, Amy O'Leary, Executive Director, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, Sean McBreedy, Michigan Legislative and Policy Director for the Clean Water Action, Tim Minotis, Deputy Legislative and Political Director for the Sierra Club, Jennifer Ringertate, Assistant Director, State and Federal Affairs for the Michigan Municipal League, Megan Tinsley, Water Policy Director, Michigan Environmental Council, Andrea Brown, Executive Director, Michigan Association of Planning, and Nick Acapinti, the Director of Government Affairs for the Michigan League of Conservation Voters. Right on the website for you to read at any time. Pretty powerful stuff, I think, from around our state about local control and what these bills are looking to do. The MTA also published in their their October issue of the MTA magazine what was coming up. They didn't have any thing on the docket as of October when this issue came out, but they knew that legislation that impedes or eliminates your board's ability to engage in issues that have long-lasting consequences on your community. One of these issues is the siting and permitting authority for renewable energy facilities that will exist in a community for 20 to 50 years. It eliminates all local authority over the location and permitting of utility-scale renewable energy facilities. This would include wind and solar factories, facilities, as well as large-scale battery facilities, and move the permitting of utility-scale renewable energy facilities from the local level to the Michigan Public Service Commission, a rate-making regulatory state agency with no land use experience. If approved, this change will have real long-lasting impacts in your community. The legislation would preempt and override a township's existing ordinance for renewable energy. So if your township already has a renewable energy ordinance, it's going to override it. They're going to tell you what is going to be in it. It would not require that any local referendums on the issue be taken into consideration. In addition to the total elimination of local siting and permitting, the more egregious provisions included in the draft of this bill, no analysis of compatibility with any existing local government land use plan, no cap on the amount of property that could be utilized in the local government unit for such purposes, very limited provisions on what must be included in the site plan application, leaving requirements up to a state regulatory agency that regulates utility rates, no provisions ensuring inspection, compliance, or enforcement with a site plan or permit, even permitting minor changes to the site plan without approval, no residential setback, no local approval for fire protection or an emergency response plan, no requirement for a local host agreement to cover costs that may be incurred by the host community, such as infrastructure, roads, public safety, fire emergency response, Any requirement for local governing body to notice and hold a public hearing for a project over which they have no authority without any requirement for the state permitting agency to attend. MTA says they understand the need and the desire for renewable energy, and the many townships across the state are already home to renewable energy facilities by their choice, right? Put them where you want it. By local control tells you what you can and cannot do. So I want to point out kind of two sides. You know, we have the energy and wind battery bill that just passed, and we have the aggregate bill that's coming up. So what can you do? Some ways that citizens may, make their voices known to their senators and representatives. There are several ways that citizens can make their voices known. Contacting them by phone, by email, or by mail. Following them on social media. Many state legislators have Facebook or Twitter accounts where they share their views and activities. You can follow them and comment on their posts and send them direct messages. Visiting them in person. You can schedule an appointment to meet with your state legislators at their local state offices. You can also attend town hall meetings or public events like we're doing here tonight. You can write a letter to the editor or an op-ed, right, Matt? Joining or starting a campaign or an advocacy group. You can get involved with a group that shares your interests and goals and works on to influence state legislators. You can also organize petitions, rallies, protests, and other actions to raise awareness, kind of what we've done here with the IHPC Council. Can you change the state law in Michigan? I think, again, we're going to hear a little bit about that tonight from our first speaker in just a minute, but there are different ways that you can change a law in Michigan. You can lobby the state legislators, you can initiate a state statute or a constitutional amendment, participate in public hearings and comment periods, voting in the elections and the referendums, really, really key there. And then joining or forming a group or organization. Citizens can collaborate with other people who share their views and goals. So, these are all things that we can do. And again, if we can help you, get there and to help you, where to turn, that's our mission. And the Irish Hills Preservation Council is about educating you and helping you, but we also are against local control being stripped away from all of us.